Welcome to the Dice Tower, a series of video reviews about board and card games. Here are your hosts, Tom Vassell and Sam Healy.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia, hello.
Sam Healy, welcome back, folks.
Today we're taking a look at one of the most well-named games in existence, The River.
The River tells you everything you need to know about this game.
I really hate this name, it's so
true.
boring. But what makes me interested in the game is the fact that it says Days of Wonder on it. And that's a big deal because they make one new game a year. With maybe a few exceptions over the years, they have done one a year.
Right.
This year they put out a small little Ticket to Ride, which is kind of they usually do some expansion or some variants, but this is their only new game that they came out in 2018 that I know of.
Cool.
And it's done by some designers. Sebastian
Pochon.
I know him from other games. I don't know if I know the other guy.
The other designer only has this
Perrin.
credit, I believe.
All right.
Ishmael Perrin.
Well, this is a game about building your own river, or things next to rivers.
Building
You are-
your own river?
Developing, you're not excavating out a river.
Build a river.
You are developing
The land.
production
Around
a river, yes.
All right, you know what? Let's just let Z
But
explain that.
that was not as good a title. Production around the river. In the game, the players are going to be sending out their workers to different locations, gathering resources, building up their lands on their personal board, and completing objectives for victory points. And so, starting from the star player, whichever player has the wooden ship here, you are going to take one of your workers after setup is all done. We've already started with one tile here. And you are going to send that worker to a place that is still available. So starting over here, each player can go to 2 spots, so you can do this twice per turn. You can go there, you can take one of these land types, and you can put it on the next available space on your board, following the river along the path here all the way to the bottom. And so if I did that for my first turn, I might, for example, take this one, put it right there. This is going to change what I produce and what I am able to store. And as you can see, some spots are pre-printed on the board, of course. So that might be my first turn. For my second turn, let's say that's this. I want to take one of these actions here, which are all resource gathering actions. We'll come back to this section. If I go to one of these spots, I'm going to gather wood or stone, possibly brick, or take one of these turkeys, which are wild resources. Count for any of the others. Now, this spot here is unlimited. As many workers as you want can go there. But these are limited, and if you go there, then you are going to count how many of that kind of resource you make. And so in this case, if I want to collect wood, let's say, I would count how many times that appears on my board. It's only one time there. It's right there. So I would take 1. However, the first spot there, it says +1. So I'll be able to gather 2. And these must be stored in these barns. So I'm going to do that. If I was taking more than I'm able to store, I would have to get rid of something. And then the other players, again, would go taking up these locations. If I ever choose to go over here on this part of the board, I'm going to save one of these for later, taking that card. And later on, I'll be able to build in one of these spots over here, but I will get a discount if I reserve the card. And then finally, we have the island I skipped here in the middle. If I go to the top, I'm able to complete one of these objectives. I can do one from here, or I can do one I reserved. I simply pay the resources, I take that card, I'm going to slide it into this side of the board, hiding the victory points, and I will take the highest available point token on the stack here, put that next to it face down to hide the victory points as well. If I do it from my hand, again, I can discount any one resource I would like. The next spot down here simply allows you to become the start player. If you go there, you'll take the ship, you'll be start player next time. And then this one down here allows you to swap 2 tiles on your board. The reason for that is a bonus scoring that will happen at the end of the game. And it goes like this. Again, you have to fill this board in sequence. But if you are able to get 2 of the same land types above one another, you are going to get 2 bonus points, as denoted right there, for those 2 tiles. If you can do it 3 times, you are going to get 6 victory points for that column. And so this action allows you to move things around to make that possible. Once someone has delivered 5 times, the game's going to be over, and you are going to calculate victory points. A couple of things will happen, however, along the way. Once you deliver your second special order here, you see a worker just sitting right there. Well, you're going to earn that worker. However, you also are going to lose some workers as they settle into these new lands. As you deploy new locations into your board, you are going to eventually turn the corner right here. And when that one is filled, well, then at the end of the turn, someone is going to settle into that spot. So you will lose a worker permanently into that location. It will happen again right here. And then finally, these last 2 spots, assuming you fill your board that much, that will also happen. Game end, again, 5 of these completed, or someone indeed that does complete their board. There's a few other things at the end of the game. 3 resources becomes 1 victory point. Throughout the game, you can trade in any 3 resources for a turkey, which again is a wild resource. And these would be replenished at the beginning of every round. That's basically it. Most victory points at the end of the game is going to be the winner of the river.
Okay, so first of all, I like to point out this is a Days of Wonder game, and I think the cover looks fine, other than the boring title. But the cover looks fine.
Days of Wonder game.
Yeah, Days of Wonder games look fantastic. I don't think this game looks fantastic. I think it looks normal, which is a kind of a weird.
That's a byproduct of the fact that other companies are finally starting to catch up to Days of Wonder. That's not Days of Wonder.
I guess this game doesn't look that exciting to me. It's just there's this river with some tiles that are different colors.
There's nothing in it I would say, ooh, misstep from Days of Wonder in this thing here. It looks like a Days of Wonder game, like one of the simpler Days of Wonder games, but there's nothing in this that looks different from, say, Cargo Noir.
Yeah, but like Cargo Noir has those big giant coins that look kind of cool.
That's true, but this one has turkeys.
That's
wooden
true.
Turkeys.
This game is the only game I've ever seen to have wooden turkeys.
Turkeeple.
I will come over there.
But you're right, it's one of the simpler looking Days of Wonder games, and it is one of the simpler Days of Wonder games.
It would actually just be Teeple.
A teeple.
Yeah, a Teeple.
I can't believe I said that.
I agree with Z that it is a fairly simple game. So, but actually, when we played it, you warned us about that going in. Told it was a simple game.
I did.
You're basically putting workers down, getting resources, using those resources to accomplish goals.
Right, and I knew it was going to be a simple game going into it from what I had heard, and it was still simple. I mean, it still surprised me by how basic and simple it was. Now, given the first time I played was with just 2 players, and I'll say this scales up better than down, guaranteed.
Really? Okay, I've not played it with 2, so I wouldn't know.
I like it more with more players. There's simply more interesting choices. Folks might block you. And there's also the idea that when you go and gather resources somewhere, if you're the first one, you get +1. That's not a thing on the 2-player side of the board.
Oh, okay.
So, not as interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so cards on the table. I'm not a huge fan of this game. I don't dislike it. It's kind of just there for me. But there's a few things I wasn't a real big fan of. I'm not a fan of the dwindling resources. The resources run out fairly easily, which is fine. And this is why I almost disagree with Z that this is like a good game for beginners, because that's not an easy. That's kind of a. It's a simple concept, I guess, but it's not a fun concept for new people. It's like, oh, I'm going to take some brick. Oh, I'm sitting here and hoarding all the brick. What are you going to do about it?
But it is a thematic concept. I mean, where you go to the quarry and gather stone, we'll run out of stone.
Sure, but there's lots of thematic things I don't want in my games.
That's true, but I mean, when I try to teach a game to someone, again, don't get me wrong, this is not particularly thematic. Lining up land types for points it ain't thematic. But the fewer mental leaps I have to take to teach someone a game, the better. Stuff runs out, I don't think is one of them.
No, I get that. I'm just saying I don't necessarily like that limited resource. It feels extremely limited in this game. That you're just running out of these things all the time. And you're going to feel, for better or for worse, you're going to feel angst that someone else has taken the spot you want to go to. They've taken the tile you were going to take. That's going to happen all the time. That taking the first player marker in this one is a very viable option.
Especially with more players.
You get sick of the other person taking your stuff.
Yeah.
Again, especially with more players. With 2 players, never did it.
Really? Okay.
And I think, honestly, it should give you something else, at least on the 2-player side. Just going first,
Not good enough.
not that interesting, you know? With 3, with 4, sure, I could see that. Especially if I really need that specific land type to be my 3rd in a column.
That
I
then
better have
doesn't
first-
come out the next turn,
Oh,
which
sure,
is very
that can happen.
frustrating.
But I better
I
have
took
first crack
first.
at those. But yeah, that action I actually found underwhelming. Everything else is fine, but it is a basic game. Where I could see this fitting in for me is as an introductory worker placement game to literally teach someone how worker placement develops, how it goes. That, unfortunately, means the game's likely to not have the legs to go the distance. It's real samey from play to play.
Yeah.
It's real samey in the game itself.
In one play,
Lots of games kind of ramp up or ramp down. This one ramps up slightly. I do like as you place tiles and then you take stone, you get all the stone that you've built,
Sure.
which would be a whole lot cooler if the resources weren't limited. I don't care if I can take 4 stone if there's only 2 in the pile. That really cool concept, they actually negate it in the game itself.
interesting.
But other than that, it's kind of like, get some resources, build a tile, do this. Okay, ooh, I got a new tile. This tile gives me a 3 house. I don't know. The tiles were never really that exciting.
There's a few that are different. There's a few that have special powers. I honestly think they underplayed the special powers thing, and I would have loved to have seen in the box basic deck of cards, the ones you use, and something to keep that replayability up for once the people, once those folks at the table that you just taught what worker placement is to keep coming back to this. There is just not a lot of reasons here to come back. Those buildings, that's my biggest gripe with the game. It's so basic. 2 brick, 1 whatever, and you slot it and you get some points, and if you do it early, you get another token. Cool. Come on, some of those could have been cool things.
Yeah.
And there's no deck B for when you've already played the game a while. Hey, shuffle these in. That's my only gripe, serious gripe, other than the fact that the game, it's really basic.
Well, yeah, I've kind of let you guys do most of the talking here because it really is just a basic game. One of my biggest things was, and it's kind of superficial, but not really, is that I think the name is a misnomer because this is nothing about a river. This is a farming game. It has nothing really to do about the river.
The farm.
Well, I mean, even that would be very boring as well. But, I mean, it's just, the river is just there. You're not doing anything on the river. You're not sailing down the river. You're not transporting goods down the river. You're not doing any of that. You're literally just developing land around the river. So
I think technically, thematically, I think you are sort of moving down the river and building new buildings, which is the reason why when you turn that corner, someone settles
yes.
in a new part of the.
Whatever. That's such a stupid catch-up mechanism.
Oh yeah.
It's a huge
Oh, you're
stretch.
winning, lose a guy.
I agree. That mechanism seems weird.
But I mean, there just wasn't. I like the way it looks. I like the way they have it has nice components. It has good artwork, good graphic design, all that kind of stuff, which is what Days of Wonder is kind of known for.
Yes.
But as far as the game is concerned, this was utterly forgettable for me.
So thumbs?
Thumbs. This one doesn't get any thumbs from me.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I'm not giving it a thumb down because I didn't dislike it.
Right.
Like when I was done, I was like, there was a few minor things I didn't like, but they're kind of counterbalanced by the few minor things I thought were good. But at the end of the day, I'm telling you, in a year, when Z will mention the river, and I'll be like, what was that game about even? I just won't remember it.
Yeah.
Which
I'll remember
which
that
is
it
a
wasn't
weird
about the
thing for
actual
Days of
river.
Wonder. If this was any other company, I'd have been like, yeah, okay. But Days of Wonder, I just expect more from them, that's all.
Yeah, that's kind of unfair as well, to an extent.
Yeah, well, again,
because-
they're a victim of their own success.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree with that. Their last few games have been, 5 Tribes and Yamatai, which really stepped up in the complexity and strategy realm, and this is a major step down from both of those things.
Oh,
So
step back. step down is a little bit more negative.
No, I meant it. I mean, I think it is.
Okay.
Well, it's definitely a step down production-wise. I mean, when you look at Yamatai on the board, you're like, what is this?
Yeah.
And the
Same thing. Five Tribes.
looks
Again,
cool.
this is a nice-looking small game that from Days of Wonder, right after. Again, I keep going back to Cargo Noir because it was sort of a lull in their production. If it come out right after that, we would have been like, okay, cool. Days of Wonder's doing all right. It's, just because of the success that this looks bad. I don't dislike it. Again, I think it has a place
Yeah.
as an introductory worker placement game. If you're looking for something really simple, you could even, fold the younger crowd in here and play this with them. I don't know if they're going to be captivated because, but this gets.
Hey, kids, we're playing the river! Woo!
Yeah. I'm waffling between, half a canoe up and the full canoe. It's somewhere in there. Wow, you guys are doing thumbs. I'm doing weird stuff. It's half a
And
barn.
we forgot to do weird stuff.
Half a barn and the actually erect barn in which you can store your turkeys. I think it has a place, but I'm worried longevity here is the biggest issue for me.
Alrighty, well, there you go. That's The River from Days of Wonder. I'm Tom Bassel.
I'm Z Garcia. Thank you.
Sam Healy. See you on the flip side, folks.